Zheleva is founder of uspeh. Uspeh, for those of us who aren't fluent in Bulgarian, means success, and it's a name that says a lot about how Eli thinks. She started her business 15 years ago and has spent time working across digital strategy, CRM, AI and automation. Eli is a HubSpot certified trainer, a published author. Her book, Marketing Matters, brings together her digital marketing and life coaching thinking. And Eli has spoken at international forums often on data-driven marketing. I have asked Eli to join me today to talk to the Scottish Marketing Network about her views on the relationships between systems and people. Today we're going to explore what human-centric, systems-driven leadership looks like in practice. So first of all, Eli, thank you so much for joining me. And did I get my pronunciation okay?
It was amazing. It was like you're fluent. Yes, absolutely. And thank you very much for having me. And one of the reasons I agreed to be part of this podcast is because of your accent. You just can't get enough of the Scottish accent. Like, okay, so
you like my accent.
You can ask me whatever you want, not a problem.
I love that. I think you sound lovely.
Thank you. I remember when I came to the UK, 16 years ago now, I had to translate for English people from Scottish people. They won't speak in English, but because the accent, it was a little bit challenging for the British people, which I found fascinating. But I think that because as a foreigner, I'm used to hear the same word being pronounced in 17 different ways. And I could then interpret, that's what you meant. Whereas very often people who already know English, they just used to hearing something pronounced in a certain way. And if it doesn't sound like that, they're like, what are you on about? So I have a soft spot for the Scottish accent.
The Scottish accent. I think you live in the south of England, is that right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like quite often people, like English people, can find the Scottish accent quite aggressive. Like they think we're always being aggressive when actually we're probably being friendly. But apparently it doesn't sound like that.
One of the things, actually, when I came here, was that exactly this culture, the way we express each other. The way we express ourselves, and it's more the fact that if I was to say to someone, "How are you doing?" and if they say not bad, I'm like, "Oh, what's wrong?" "Oh, nothing." If they didn't say good, so it's just fascinating how those little nuances make you think that they're always fighting. No, it's just having a laugh. It's just how it sounds. So
yeah, that's true. Not bad. I've never actually thought about that one, but not bad isn't really a very positive thing to say, is it? But it's what we say. Yeah, not bad. Good.
Yeah.
Ellie, before we get stuck in, I've got lots of questions that I want to ask you about your experience and whatnot. But why don't you give our listeners that aren't familiar with your business maybe just a bit about you and your business and what that looks like?
Yeah. So I started coding when I was 12, so that is not so long ago, obviously. But it has been 26 years now, and I started coding when HTML was a big thing, then tables came on board, and then when CSS came on board, like, woo, what a life. And so I have always been technically minded, oriented. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I said that on camera, but I was selling piracy CDs back in the day, so just a little bit of pocket money. It's just whatever you. Hey, I live in Bulgaria. We have to make it work, right? We don't have the government providing for us. So afterwards, I went into SEO, and then with the SEO side of things, I got to the UK. I started doing websites. I started doing SEO, paid advertising. Then I moved within CRM space, and that's how I got into HubSpot. I've done a lot of consultancy across various industries, across various types of businesses. Worked with B2C, B2B, B2E, or B2B2C. So all the variations. And I have worked with businesses all over the world. And for a long time, it was only me in the businesses, and I was a consultant. And at times I have freelancers helping me here and there, but it was primarily me. And then at some point, 6 years ago, I decided to team up with a few other people and start this agency. But for some reason, various reasons, it didn't work, and we decided to part ways. And now I have started uspeh. And actually, the reason it's uspeh is exactly like you say. I'm kind of manifesting it every single day, just typing it. My emails are okay, uspeh.co.uk, uspeh. So just to brainwash myself. You'd be surprised, by the way, the number of times when clients need to share passwords with us and so on, or where they mention something, and the password is life sucks. You type this every day, priming yourself. You'd be surprised. Overtime forever. I'm like, anyway, so I thought that, you know what, I'm just going to be manifesting it. I'm just going to go for it. And also for the other thing that, again, from a marketing point of view, a lot of the company names have been taken is part of the reality of it. You see, a lot of companies, everything revenue operations is rev something, revenue or RevOps automated, or all that stuff. So I thought that, well, how can I be different? Actually, in my mind, uspeh was a very easy thing to pronounce, but then didn't realize that the English-speaking people would be saying, well, other things. So I decided to go for uspeh because I was thinking I can play on words afterwards. Because he was like, USPA, we're going to be USP because that's how it's spelled. And maybe one day I'll just drop the EH and it will just be USB. And who knows, right?
Very smart, I love that.
Just thinking ahead and thinking how to expand the brand. And what I did is that I decided to take this name, and actually I've had a conversation with our business mentor as to whether to change it, whether to revise it. And I'm thinking, but IKEA, English people still pronounce IKEA. Hyundai, the car brand, is pronounced Hyundai here in this country, which means that it doesn't matter how big you are, Nike, so it doesn't matter how big you are, there would be countries that would mispronounce your name. So, and to me, actually, when it comes to branding, I can be a little bit cynical when it comes to that, because I think that, I totally think, I have seen a lot of businesses put a lot of time and effort into branding to the detail that is no longer, they have the diminishing returns now. Because, of course, it's good to have the brand, it's good to have the tone of voice and so on, but especially when you're a startup, no one knows you. No one cares about your brand tone of voice, because unless you're, Innocent Juices, where the brand is playful and you know that there's going to be a joke there, most other brands are professional, educational, friendly. That's just normal business language. Come on. So when they say, this blog post is not one with our tone of voice, first thing, when the salesperson picks up the phone, let's say you inquire, they don't know about the tone of voice, which means that they're going to have the conversation they would have had anyway. So, and that's why I said, you know what, I'm sticking with the spec. It's going to be the way it is, and I said I'm manifesting it. So within the last 18 months that we've been in business with our current form, now have 7 people team. We recently acquired a mini agency in Spain, and but they have great expertise. So that kind of talent you can't just find just out of the blue, and it's just super exciting. And within the team now we have people that are dedicated to AI, automations, data analysis. We have people that are dedicated to HubSpot, because we're a HubSpot Platinum Partner agency. And we have people that do some technical stuff, and we have a lot of expertise, and it's just super exciting because since we started to speak, I have done the projects that I never even thought possible. And you know what? When I started it, because that was in November 2024, come December, I was thinking, okay, I want to build something big. I have a lot of knowledge from the previous years of experience, because actually I was a business mentor for here at Watts University for the Help to Grow scheme. So again, I've worked with a lot of businesses, and I have seen what the challenges are, and it's pretty much the same thing. And one of it is the constraints. and the constraints of time. So I was thinking, okay, in October 2024, I have not done anything with AI. In November 2024, I started doing stuff with AI, and I said, look at me now, 18 months later, having a bigger team that many other companies have at
You
this
wouldn't
stage
have
of their
imagined.
growth. And for me, the primary reason for the growth is exactly the team. I have a brilliant team, brilliant team. The technology and the passion, because they just love working, and they love what they do. Of course, there's challenges, and I'm hard on them, or I just put them in the deep end, and they're like, what we do? Yeah, you got this. Yeah, but I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, but you got it. So, but it's amazing. It's amazing just to see everyone growing at like a pace that maybe none of us had expected. It's very exciting.
Amazing. And it's probably worth mentioning now how I was introduced to you, because I was looking for a HubSpot expert. One of my clients was looking for advice on HubSpot. And then we had a conversation, and I think what was really interesting, or what I found really interesting about you and your business, is you're a very data-driven digital marketing. It's about the numbers, but also the amount of personal development that you do and reading. I can't wait till we get to your recommendations. And those two things, like data and manifesting, like they don't often go together. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like they don't often go together. And so I suppose that's quite unique about what you're offering as a business and what you're offering your clients as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the books, I was looking at my Audible account, and bear in mind that's only the Audible. That excludes any like physical books, and it excludes any of the free books I have listened to on YouTube. I was looking at that since August 2022. I have listened to 203 books. That is 4.8 books on average. And actually, since we last spoke, I listened to 6. So I love it. Absolutely love it. And so with the books, I have learned a lot of stuff. And exactly. And one of the books that I read recently is called Systems Thinking. And of course, HubSpot is a lot about RevOps, so it's a similar thing from one point of view. And then I realized that, RevOps, for the systems thinking theory, they say that if you have a thermostat, and then if the temperature goes to a whatever level, then the thermostat kicks in and then regulates. So there is this thing that it's an invisible barrier that doesn't allow you to break through, because the thermostat is keeping it there. Now, with the RevOps side of things, you have tech stack, people, and processes. That's the core foundation of RevOps. Yeah, but people, I think that the RevOps model is broken from the point of view that they only focus on whether the people following the process. So it's like in an industrial age, are the workers working? As opposed to the human element of the people, because they are human. So it doesn't matter what the good process you have, doesn't matter whether you have the tool stack and so on. If I'm about to have a call with a prospective client and my boss comes and shouts at me, guess what? I'm not going to close that client, even if I was having the preparation, and because, I don't know, some insecurities could kick in, limiting beliefs, then the energy drop, all of those things that no one talks about, but it is part of the real thing. And with a lot of clients, we have very personal relationships, as in we check in for birthdays and so on, even if we haven't actually worked on a project for 7-8 months, exactly because and they share things part of their life. So it's not only this campaign, that campaign. It's the weekend I went with my daughter, we're gonna go camping, and it's just super exciting because that is the human, and that is what actually I think, as I said, is missing.
Why you're at work, isn't it, a lot of the time?
In the current model. And I'm on a mission to change it, basically, with what we're doing, with the way we position ourselves, because consciously or subconsciously, even in the way I talk, as in, I have been given feedback in personal life that, but I don't need you to be my coach. And I don't want to coach people, it's just how I express myself in metaphors, and in this book they say, my experience. So I do think that there is a lot of room for us to put the human as a human, not only just as a robotic machine or to implement processes, at the center of exactly all those RevOps systems. Because
That is
there are a lot of
a natural.
deals. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, on you go. No, you finish up. Just what you were saying there is a really good segue into the next question I was going to ask you, but finish what you were saying first.
I just wanted to finish with like a sentence that I think that is quite relevant, because there's a lot of deals that are lost not because of lack of processes or lack of tools, but because of the presence of limiting beliefs.
Wow, this is a powerful start. So uspeh, your whole approach is built around where people are thriving, businesses are thriving, which obviously that was a brilliant segue into that question, so thank you. What does that look like in the work that you deliver day to day?
I came up with, with the help of ChatGPT, I came up with those commandments. Not the 10 commandments, but we have our version of that.
Is there 10?
And so, it is 10. I can't remember all of them, but the first one I remember, and is we are human. And that's exactly what it says, because they're not commandments in the way of commanding, they're just principles, I guess, as in guiding principles. But the first thing is we're humans. We have good days, we have bad days. What is 100% today might not be what's going to be 100% tomorrow. Don't beat yourself up. Don't just be kind to yourself, because it's just work. Let's face it, we're not surgeons. Lives don't depend on us. There's no such thing as an urgent thing. It just means that someone hadn't planned well enough, including me. And that's the other thing that I say to the team, that just because I'm in a leadership position doesn't mean that you can't tell me, yeah, but I'm working on other things. And of course, this is where I could say, well, I'll take the hit for you to prioritize this and keep the client, or I'll manage the expectation with the client for this other project, but could you please prioritize this? And even then, they could still push back, and I'm encouraging them to do that, because I think that authority, seniority in the corporate hierarchy should not mean authority, because everyone has a voice, everyone's voice is valid, and there would be times where someone has more experience and therefore their voice would have more weight, but that's not to say there's the be-all and end-all. And I actively look for feedback from the team, and we put things in place to help them grow. And every single month for the last few months, I have asked them to listen to a book. And those are books exactly from all the books that I have listened to that I found that have profoundly changed my life, the way I look at things and so on. A couple of months ago, the book was Nonviolent Communication, because that book, it is Marshall Rosenberg. That book, it explains about how to communicate in a way where you're heard, where you acknowledge your needs. And of course, in the professional life, there'll be a lot more tamed, I guess. So if you're the client and I'm on the uspeh part, if I'm frustrated with you, I would say, why would you do that? As you told me the other thing before, because it's the business setting, so I'll hold back. But in a personal situation, that sometimes, especially with our closest ones, unfortunately, they're the people to take the hit of, oh, I had a tough day, and now, why are you asking me this question? You asked me 3 times already. I told you where the socks are. Oh, whoa, what's happening? So you could just say, listen, I've had a very tough day. I don't have the headspace. Give me 5 minutes. Because otherwise, there's a clash. And I think that them, as in everyone in the world even, having the understanding of how to communicate, that's one of the primary things for us as living beings, because we're social animals. And business, even though that you could do that outreach through AI, is still the person making the decision, the person buying. And then you still need to go through a person, unless obviously it's e-commerce, self-checkout and so on. But so the communication skills is something, especially in today's world, where there's a lot of AI that gets left aside, because you see the number of people, you go to restaurants and they're just on their phone, and you're thinking, are you on a date? Because you're not talking, or are you with your friends? I mean, why are you at the restaurant? As in, you could have just ordered takeaway from the same restaurant and being at home. I don't know. I Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Who knows? But yeah, I truly
I think
believe
it's coming
that
back around, isn't it? I think people are, well, sometimes I think you go into restaurants and people will be more likely now to put their phone away, but I feel like we're maybe coming back around to that more traditional, like put it away, enjoy the moment that you're in.
Yeah, yeah. But I believe that you can't sow apples and expect roses. Hence the idea that if the team is not thriving, there's no way for the business to thrive.
I often, in my sort of day to day, I often hear people talking about the lack of creativity because of data and AI and all the tools that we have at our disposal. Do you think that that is widening the gap, or do you think there's an opportunity to bridge the gap between creativity and AI or technology, I suppose, in a wider sense?
Funny enough, I had pretty much the same conversation with a friend of mine a couple of days ago because he was of the view that AI will, in a way, kill creativity. And I was holding the opposite stance the whole time from the point of view that the question actually I asked him as well is that, well, in the current curriculum in the UK and maybe even all over the world, what are the subjects that are actively fostering creativity? There aren't many. It's mostly the art and so on, but art as in creativity is not only art, it's critical thinking, it's pattern recognition, which means that I think that the creativity is not killed by the tools. It's starting to be suffocated by the educational system. And now because of the tools that are available, now they accelerate that and amplify it, and then the tools get the blame. But actually, if you ask me, I have been a lot more creative since I started using AI. Because as I said, in November 2024, when I started the business, I was saying to AI, okay, I'm a business owner, I have this kind of experience, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this. What am I missing? Right? And then it gave me the ideas. So it all depends on how you use AI, because if I just use it to give me the answer, oh, write me a business plan, and then, I don't think, and I just follow blindly, of course that's not good. But if I say, okay, but this is the use case, and this is the budget that I have, and this is what's happening, and those are the considerations, and actually now give me 3 ideas, or ask me 5 questions to better understand what it is I'm trying to achieve, and then give me 3 different ways. Because sometimes, if I just say to it, I want to do this, tell me how to do it, that might not be the right thing to do in the first place. So I would say, no, it's not killing creativity. If anything, it could help bridge the gap. But it's down to I think that AI is like money. It amplifies who you are. Because if you're creative, you have more to be creative with. If you're not creative, yes, because the tool is there. You can teach yourself being creative with ChatGPT. You could train yourself. You could give it a prompt. I don't think that I'm very creative. Create me a 5-week program so that I can be better at pattern recognition, or challenge my thinking about this and this. Let's have a debate and all those things. But as I said, they're not fostered within the educational system where obviously where people go through. And therefore, now it's very easy because AI popped up. People say, oh, but AI is making people not think. No, because what is the education system? It comes from the industrial age. If you have a question, raise your hand. When the bell rings, that's when you're allowed to go. You just follow orders. So I don't think it's AI.
Yeah, I have noticed. I do some mentoring for a college, and I wonder, actually, you said, is it Harry, what you said you do part of the Help to Grow?
Yeah.
And I have noticed at the college, and also with just like friends and family that I know that are going through school, it's not been adopted whatsoever, and it's sort of discouraged. And I think, oh God, like, you guys are going into marketing next year, you need to start getting a hold of this. But it's not really in the education system yet, or from what I've seen. I probably shouldn't make a statement like that. Could you give me an example of a really good AI use case that you've come across?
There's so many. And okay, I will tell you how I got inspired to use AI. because it was in September 2024 when I went to Boston to one of the HubSpot conferences. And I met a lady there. She's also an agency owner from El Salvador called Aide. Beautiful person. So she's very much into AI. And we started talking with her. At some point I noticed her nails. I was like, oh, I like your nails. She says, yeah, ChatGPT did them. Wait, what? And she says, yeah.
Her nails?
Yeah. And that's why I was like, what? So she said, well, because before I came to the conference, I said to ChatGPT, which obviously suggests that even by that time she was a heavy user, I said to ChatGPT, I am a business owner, those are my brand colors, I'm going to this conference, I want to have the nails that are going to be the conversation starter so I can talk to people. Actually, those are my business goals. This is the map of the venue. Those are the names of the talks, and they're going to be at different stages. So tell me what talks I need to go to support my business goal. Bear in mind that my ankles are hurting. I was like, oh, and that just opened my mind. I'm like, huh. So talking about creativity, right? Isn't she thought of all of that, and she just needed AI to put it together. And then AI actually gave her examples of the nails and she liked them, and then she says, okay, well, from those makes, which are the colors? And literally AI gave her the name of the color. So she just walked into the sun and said, I want this color, like this picture. And that's it. And I found that fascinating.
What did her, yeah, that's, I want to see a picture of these nails.
Yeah.
Something that we've spoken about, and I know something that you have drawn a lot from, is Erin Meyer's culture map. For anyone who hasn't come across it, what are the core ideas and how has that changed the way you communicate with your team and your clients?
The culture map is a mini guide, let's say, obviously it's a book, but it's a mini guide of how the different countries and cultures have specific ways of expressing things and communicating, and how things, when we say got lost in translation, is a thing. Because there are countries that are more, was it high context? Yeah, that's what they call them, high context and low context. And the idea is that if a culture is high context, that means that you need to know a lot of the context of the background and of how things are working, which means that you could tell me 3 words and I know exactly what you mean. But if someone is not from this culture, they're like, so how is that relevant?
Like, not
now,
bad.
Low context, exactly. With the low context cultures, what happens is that you don't need to know anything because they will tell you. And the example within the book was when Americans say it's a joke. You know, it was clearly a joke. No need to signpost it, but it's part of their culture to say that, oh, don't take offense, it is a joke. And because in our team, we have people that are from the UK, from Argentina, from China, obviously Bulgaria. So we have people from all over, and that book had helped me quite a lot to understand what those nuances. And sometimes I'm thinking, is the person pushing back? Oh, no. It's probably because how they perceive it, and I don't jump to conclusions like I have done in the past. But I say, so do you mean? And then I elaborate, because otherwise, very easily, I could think that, oh, she didn't want to do this, or something else, and actually it has nothing to do with that. They just said, it's a little bit like Tony Robbins. I love this guy, so I've been to a lot of events and the whole personal development thing, and he was telling a story at one of the events about how women and men communicators, and he was not breaking it down by the different, obviously by different culture, but even with women and men, how the communication is because of the way the brain is different. So he says, okay, ladies, now, no. And he first asked the guys, okay, guys, so I need a volunteer. And then they say, yeah, how about you? Are you single? Yes, cool. So imagine that you're in the car and you're driving and you're with your lovely girlfriend, and she says to you at some point, do you want the coffee? What do you say? And they says, well, depends on what I want the coffee. So now you're single. I said, what do you mean? Well, no. The fact that she asks you, do you want a coffee, means that she wants a coffee, but she doesn't want to be the one to initiate it. So at that point, if you want to stay in that relationship, you say, yes, honey, well, let's stop for a coffee. And now you're the winner. Says, but ladies, now on the flip side, imagine you go to a bar and then you like this guy and you actually summon the courage to go and talk to him. And then the chat is nice. And then you say to him, so, do you want to meet up on Thursday? And he says, I can't. What do you think? Oh, such an idiot. He probably with the girlfriend, he's gay, he's all that stuff. And he says, and guys, what does that mean? Well, I can't do Thursday, but I can do Saturday.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just all of those mind games. And you're thinking, So
Champions League Thursday.
Exactly. But that's it. The way we communicate determines a lot of the outcomes. Even the way we communicate with ourselves. This is one of the chapters in my book. It's called Positive Communication. Because if we think that, oh, I have a problem with this, well, things are only a problem if you see them as a problem. But if you say, oh, have a challenge with this, then it's different because you want to rise to the challenge. And therefore, the mindset now like, okay, how can I figure it out? But if it's a problem, this again. So I'm very strong on communication, hence some of my favorite books are to do with communication.
Love it. My brother-in-law was telling me a story recently. My niece was misbehaving and he was telling her, like, don't do this. And then he said, Freya, I'm not going to tell you again. And she just turned around and went, thanks, Dad, I'm so glad, and like walked away. And I was like, amazing. Smart. I know. I thought that was good. She thought it was amazing as well, and he was just like, fair enough. Do you know what? I've lost that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thinking about your clients and your team, I can tell like listening to you your answers and everything that you're telling me, like you're very thoughtful in your delivery and what's coming next. What problem would you most like to solve over the next... Oh, we've got a visitor. Love this. What problem would you most like to solve for your clients and for your team? That might be two questions. Or for yourself over the next few years?
Actually, the problem that I want to solve is exactly this. Self-love and self-acceptance and self-confidence, because everything stems from that. And I mean, in one of the previous episodes with Joe, he was talking about the fact that some salespeople don't follow up on sales leads, and you ask him, what do you mean? It's about the fear of rejection. I think, why are they even in a sales role? And yes, as in people go into various roles for various reasons, but it is a real thing that there are a lot of BS, belief systems, that is obviously, that run... That's
not what I thought you meant.
Well, that's marketing. Lead year one part and then punchline. So, yeah, there's a lot of belief systems that we have inherited that we haven't even had the chance to question because we don't know that they're running our lives. And we think that that's how it is. Well, of course I'm going to get mad at that. Well, not of course. If not everyone in the world is doing it, then there might be ways for you not to get mad and not to waste energy on this. And so, yeah, that's the thing that I would like to solve for them and for myself as well, as more and more.
Oh,
work in progress.
What a lovely answer. I really appreciate like everything that you have been speaking about. I think it's really interesting. As I said at the start, I think it's really interesting hearing how such a data-led and very like data-driven career person has taken this, like I suppose like different path, or really your USP being real like mentoring and manifestation and really working on personal development. So I think it's like super interesting, and I'm absolutely dying to ask you about some of your recommendations. So first up, if you could tell us about a recent marketing campaign or moment that stood out to you, it could be good or bad, and why.
The good one that I can think of is not very recent at all. We're talking 10 years ago, but the marketing that I like is that the creative marketing, talking about the creativity. It was Baroness Michelle Mone many, many years ago when she was launching her bra brand. And she, for various reasons, through her divorce, through kind of problems with the factory and storage and all that stuff, she was only left with £500 and she had to make it work. And she was trying to figure out how can she get her product to market, and because she wanted to put it in the department stores, but pretty much no one knew who she was. And she came up with the idea, which I feel is brilliant, to hire, I mean, of course, that's 10 years ago, so it's more relevant, maybe the 500 is around 2,000-3,000 nowadays. But she hired a group of actors for the day to dress as plastic surgeons. And they went out of, they were outside of Debenhams, and they were having like signs, like they protest and say, oh, ban those bras because they're going to get us out of business because they support so well. That's amazing, right? That's just...
Yeah. That was probably very innovative. Like 10 years ago, that was probably like something that just would not have, didn't happen all that often, or it wouldn't have been a popular way of driving your launch.
And with the bad ones, they're the recent ones. Not sure whether correlation is causation, but the bad ones, what I'm finding is that, because I don't watch a lot of TV, I prefer to go out with the dog, and I have a lot of meetings, and I play badminton, and so I have the audiobooks and so on. So I don't watch a lot of TV. And because of that, just out of principle, I don't pay for Netflix, Amazon Prime, I think.
Oh, like the premium, anyway. So you
yes.
get the adverts.
So I have the ads, yeah. And very often, the ads, they don't have someone talking over them. It's just this picture. And I'm thinking, most of the times, the human psychologists, like from back in the day before on-demand streaming, you wait for the ads to go to the toilet to go refill the coffee. So if I don't hear the brand name, you're like, oh, it's just nice music. So you just wasted advertiser spend. And I can see that from brands like, I don't know, Chanel and so, which, again, why would Chanel or Nina Ricci or Givenchy advertise for eyeballs for people that don't want or don't have the £5 to pay for the ad-free Netflix? So it fascinates me. Yeah. But
I wonder why that is, because I was thinking, I wonder if it's about budget, but then the brands you mentioned there, it's not about budget.
Exactly.
I wonder why they choose to do that.
Well,
remember a couple of years ago, Heinz did the campaign, and they, in fact, maybe, it was probably a couple of years ago, they like took their branding off of it, so it was just like or they didn't have Heinz, but they had their like format, and it just said like, it was like all beans, and it says like has to be on toast or something. But like, I guess the point was like, Heinz is so well recognised, we actually don't need to put it out there. I wonder if it's something like that. I don't know.
But again, they were saying it has to be on toast, right? It was not just the melody, which means that if I'm in the kitchen getting myself a drink, I still hear. Even if it's like, you know, that's McDonald's. Without me saying anything, without you talking. So if it's that, I would agree with it. But if it's just some nice music, I'm thinking, okay, well, that's nice music to make my coffee too. Nothing.
Yeah, yeah. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever been given?
The best way to create the future, to predict the future, is to create it.
Oh, I like that. Who told you that?
I think that I read it in one of the books.
Yeah, fair.
Many years ago.
Yeah, create your own path. And then, can you recommend a book, podcast, resource that's inspired you recently?
Well, for the books, I'll very quickly choose 3 that have changed my life. When it comes to money, Unshakable from Tony Robbins. Because again, it's not the practical advice of invest in stocks, diversify, which are the common things that you hear. One of the things that stuck with me from that very book is the fact that he was saying, it doesn't matter whether you want to invest, well, You shouldn't necessarily spend time on figuring out whether to invest in this oil company or that oil company. Invest in the company that does the tubes that get the oil across, because it doesn't matter who is in charge, those two are going to be needed. I'm like, So it's exactly the creative thinking around, okay, how can you, it's not that you're going against the current, but how can you have the edge? And from a personal point of view, it's Fight Right, which is Julie and John Gottman, which is again communication and how to express yourself. And actually, because they talk about the fact that around 60-70% of conflicts in relationships never get resolved. Which again, if you keep seeing it as a problem, you're gonna have a lot of problems. But if you see it just, it's just one of those things. And then the other thing would be for business, the Phoenix Project. That is a book that I'm rereading now. I bought it on a printed format and I'm listening and underlining. I believe it's a great book because it had changed the way I think about business.
Lovely. I will be ordering these. And then the final question then, who would you like to hear next on the podcast?
I'll say you. I'll
Me?
post it. Yes, because in all the books, they say that the smartest people are the ones that listen the most. And with all the podcasts you've done, you're the person to listen the most. So you have a lot of knowledge, and I'm always interested in the person behind the camera. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
We schedule it.
Thank you. I will have you host a podcast. I'll need to think what my special subject is.
Yes. Yeah, because again, I believe that you have a lot of knowledge that now you're accumulating, and it's good for it to come back to us. So
yeah. Oh, thank you. I do always say, like, the Scottish Marketing Network, like, I host the events in this podcast, and doing the job that I do, I just speak to people every day, normally very confidentially, and they tell me about all the really cool stuff that they're doing, and I just think it's incredible, the work that's going on, the things that people are doing. And quite often, I think, especially in the last couple of years, it's been quite gloomy looking at the world and everything that's going on. And I think, God, the stuff that I hear people are doing every day is actually fantastic. It's inspiring. So that's why I started this, and I do absolutely love it. I feel like I'm very lucky to have landed in this position.
Yeah, see, there you go. Another. It's not the best advice, but still, yeah, along those lines is, luck is where preparation meets opportunity. So whilst you say that you're lucky, you didn't just land. Someone didn't just give you the microphone. You decided to take action and follow through. So take credit for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I have been taking notes of everybody that you have mentioned, so we'll tag them. Obviously, your business as well, and people can have a look at your LinkedIn and your website to get a bit of an idea of the stuff that you're doing with AI and also HubSpot. And Eli, just thank you again for coming on and chatting to us today.
Of course, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure.